All right, hey guys, Detector here. So in today's video, I'm going to be comparing two pinpointers, both of them from Nokta. So let me show you what we're looking at today. All right guys, so a couple of days ago, I got a comment or a question from one of my subscribers asking essentially which was better, the Nokta Pulsedive or the Nokta Accupoint pinpointer. So I happen to have both of those, so we're gonna be looking at them today, and I've got them right here. So the one up top is the Accupoint pinpointer and the one below is the Pulsedive. So I currently have it set up as a pinpointer, but I do also have the diving coil for the Pulsedive. But for today, we're just going to have it set up as a regular pinpointer just to keep both of the comparisons fair. All right, so I've got a couple of things out here to do kind of our comparison. So obviously I have both of the pinpointers. I brought out a necklace that I recently found and a corroded, crusty coin. And I've got them sitting on this priority mail box just because of the color. I wanted to make sure you guys could see it. And then I also have a ruler out here, and so my plan is we're going to measure the distance for both of these and see how far away they can pick up each item. So let's go ahead and start first by going over like the differences and the capabilities for both of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Nokta Accupoint. So the Nokta Accupoint has a colored LCD screen, and using that screen and the button on the Accupoint, you're able to adjust all of the different settings that the Accupoint offers. One of those settings includes being Bluetooth capable, so you can connect it to your headphones from Nokta. You also have the ability to adjust your discrimination, so you can prioritize ferrous or non-ferrous tones, and it'll help you identify the different targets while you're out hunting and hopefully get less trash. The Accupoint is also IP68 waterproof. It is waterproof up to 10 feet or 3 meters. It has 1-tone, 2-tone, and iron off discrimination settings. You can adjust the volume level. It comes equipped with a backlight so that you can see the LCD screen better in different settings, be it at nighttime or perhaps in really bright sun. It has frequency shift, which prevents interference from other detectors that might be near you. You are able to set it to have audio only, vibration only, or audio and vibration. It does come with an LED flashlight. It has a protective tip, which if you're like me and you tend to use your pinpointer to dig different targets, being able to replace the tip is super helpful and convenient. It is also rechargeable using a USB-C plug. And something else that I know comes in handy for a lot of people is if your pinpointer has been inactive for 5 minutes, it does have a lost alarm where it'll start making an audible alarm and the LED will start flashing just to let you know, hey, you have left me behind or I'm still on. All right, so that's pretty much the highlights for the Nokta Accupoint. Again, here it is, and I'll go ahead and turn it on. There's the LCD screen. The flashlight is right up here. Again, the removable tip so you can replace it. And it's pretty lightweight. I mean, it's very small, so it's not gonna be like super crazy heavy. But yeah, so that is the Accupoint pinpointer. So let's go ahead and check out the Pulsedive. So again, I do have the Pulsedive currently set up as a pinpointer, just so that we can make sure our testing that we're gonna do later is fair and equal. So let's go ahead and go over some of the features of the Nokta Pulsedive. So the Pulsedive, as it says in the name, is made to be able to take it diving. So it is IP68 waterproof. It's waterproof up to 200 feet or 60 meters. And also, as you might have gathered from the name, it is pulse induction, so it is a PI machine. This comes in handy, especially if you're hunting in saltwater environments. It also has a built-in wireless module, which will let you connect to the 2.4 gigahertz Green Edition wireless headphones. The alert settings for the Pulsedive is you can have it audio only, vibration only, or audio and vibration. And for all of those settings, you can have the LED indicator in addition to those settings. It also has an LED flashlight that comes in handy when you're hunting at nighttime. Because it is made to go diving, you do have the ability to lock the buttons on the Pulsedive, so as you get deeper, the pressure of the water won't be pressing the buttons. And just like the Accupoint, it also has a lost alarm where after 5 minutes of inactivity, it will start emitting an audible alarm and the LED will start flashing again to let you know, hey, you've left me behind, or if it's still on, hey, I'm still on, you can go ahead and turn me off. And probably the biggest difference between the Pulsedive and the Accupoint is that you can convert this from a pinpointer into essentially a handheld metal detector with the diving coil. So let me go ahead and show you that. So I do have the box out here. This is what the Pulsedive came in when I initially got it from Nokta Macro at the time. So it does have this nice plastic case, and then it lists all of the contents that come with it. So let me go ahead and open it up and show you the diving coil. So now this is the diving coil, and just so you can see comparison, like size wise, it's not super crazy big, so it's not going to add a lot of weight or anything like that while you're out. But let me go ahead and show you how it switches out. So I do have the cover on here, so you just pop this off. There you go, that pops off. And then these are just a twist and lock. So, and I still have the stickers on here, so you just twist it, take that off. It does have this protective cover that you can put on when you're not using it. And then you just find the little red sticker and line those back up and then twist it on. So now it is ready to go diving essentially. So yeah, that is pretty much the biggest difference between the two, is that you can take it diving like this, or you can use it as a pinpointer on land or at the beach, wherever you may be. So I'm gonna go ahead and change it back over to the pinpointer option. Put that on. And so this does have essentially a protective cover as well, where if you get it all scratched up, you can go ahead and put on the cover, or if you know you dig with it, make sure you use the cover. Again, I tend to dig with mine, so I like to have the cover on. So yeah, it's all set up and ready to go. So that pretty much is the biggest difference outside of the depth that you can take it. Okay, so now that we've gone over all of the features for both the Accupoint and the Pulsedive, I want to go ahead and do my little test here. Again, the question was which one is better, so I feel like the best way to kind of determine that is to see how far away they can each detect a target. So again, I've got my ruler out here, and I guess we'll go ahead and start with the coin. So I'll just go ahead and start it at 4 inches. So we've got inches on both sides. It goes from 1 to 18 essentially, and then over here it's the opposite, 18, and 1 is up there. So I'm just going to start it at 4, and we'll just put it right there above the number 4 line. So I have already adjusted the sensitivity on both of them to max sensitivity. So the Pulsedive is set to 5. The Nokta Accupoint is set to, I don't know that it has a number necessarily. Oh, actually it does. So it is set to 9 presently. So both of them are maxed out. I do also have them both on vibrate and sound so that you guys can hear it and I'll be able to feel it. So we'll just go ahead and start with the nickel, and I'm just going to put the pinpointer right here, not moving it at all. So it is not picking up the nickel. So we'll go ahead and slide it forward, and it is laying down. So we could also try it standing up and see if that affects it. So 3 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch. There, okay, so we're at about a 1/2 inch, and I don't know, let's try turning it. So I've got it faced up. Let's just try turning it and see if that makes a difference. So it gave us about 1/4 inch. So yeah, so now we're at about 3/4 inch. We were at about a 1/2 inch. So just the difference of the lip right here and the flat surface right here seems to have made that difference. So, and we'll try moving it. So let's go back to 1 inch. Nothing. So nothing at 1 inch. We'll try turning it sideways, see if that matters. So about 3/8 of an inch. And again, that is on max sensitivity, but it is also laying down. So let's go ahead and try standing it up, and we'll put it back facing up. So nothing at 4, 3, whoops. All right, so nothing at 3, I believe, yeah, at 2 inches. Let's try 2 1/4, 2 1/4, nothing at 2 1/2, nothing at 2 3/8. So about 2 1/4 inches. Standing up, it sees the nickel. Yeah, and then again, I'm sure if we turn it so that the little lip is facing up, it'll affect it too. So in theory, it'll get us to 2 1/2. Wow, no. 2, so still about the same, 2 1/4, 2 3/8 or so. So yeah, so that is the distance that the Accupoint can see the nickel. So let's go ahead and try the Pulsedive now, doing the same test. So we'll turn it on. All right. And again, I've already set it to the max sensitivity, which is 5. So I'm just gonna put it, same thing, facing up right here, and start it at 4. Well, we'll start it laying down. Nothing. Nothing at 3. Nothing at 2. Nothing at 1. Wow. So we're barely, it's like 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, and that's kind of pushing it. It almost has to be dang near touching. All right, so let's flip it over. 1 inch, 1/2 inch. Wow, okay, so pretty much about the same, 1/8 of an inch or so. Get some of the grit off of here. All right, so yeah, laying down, you almost have to be touching it to see it. So now let's try it standing up. So again, 4, 3, so 2, it's picking it up about 2 inches. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe 2 1/8, 2 inches or so. All right, so pretty much about the same for both of them on where it picks it up, I would say. All right, so we'll turn this off. Okay, so that was the nickel. So now let's try the necklace. So I'm just gonna bundle it up, I feel like, and see what that does. So we'll try the Accupoint, still at 9. Okay, so I'm just going to swipe it back and forth. So right at about 1 inch. Yep, I'd say right at about 1 inch. Maybe 1 1/8 inches. All right, so now let's stand it up. Try and keep it all bundled together. I'll do it this way, there we go. So 2 1/8. So yeah, 2 1/8. Wow. All right, so 2 1/8 for the bundled up necklace and Pulsedive. Keep it all together. Let's see, I'm trying to keep it all, there we go, okay. Wow. So we're pretty much touching it. Maybe 1/8. Yeah. All right, so let's stand it up. All right. So it's about the same, 2 1/4. Yeah, I'd say about 2 1/4. standing up. So comparing the nickel and the necklace to both of these, they're almost identical. They are like very, very equivalent to each other as far as the depth that it can find something based on if it's on edge or standing up. Obviously, if you're using a pinpointer, you've already retrieved it out of the scoop. Now it's just a matter of getting out to like the nitty-gritty of actually finding where it is in the scoopings. So there's that test. So now one thing I did want to show you or let y'all listen to is in regards to the Pulsedive. Again, it is a PI machine, it's pulse induction, so it does not use the same I don't know, I guess mechanics or systems as like a regular metal detector. So it uses the same technology as like the Garrett Sea Hunter Mark II. That is a pulse induction machine. I believe the Tesoro Sand Shark was also a pulse induction machine. So there's a couple of them out there, but this uses the same technology. So because it is a PI machine, PI machines do not play well with regular metal detectors, or really even with other PI machines. They just don't play well with other metal detectors, period. And to show you that, I brought out Ringer. So Ringer is my Excalibur 2, and this is not a PI machine. So this is a standard metal detector that uses the regular technology, if you will. So I brought it out so that you guys could listen to how it sounds when you turn on the Pulsedive, and like let's say you're metal detecting with the Excal and you also have the Pulsedive as your pinpointer. They're not necessarily going to play well together. So let me go ahead and get Ringer turned on. All right, scooch this over. So hopefully you guys can hear this. So I'm gonna turn on the Accupoint first, and I guess I'll move this back over. And what I'll do is I'll just come and detect the stuff, and you guys can listen to what it sounds like. So we'll turn it on, again, still set to 9, so have a listen. Okay, Ringer sounded completely normal, sounded the same, nothing crazy. So now we'll turn on the Pulsedive and I'll do the same thing. So let me let you guys listen. So I don't know if you guys could hear it. There's ever so slightly a little waver in the sound. Now that's being about, I don't know, 1.5 feet away from the coil. So if we move closer, now listen to it. So I know you guys could hear that waver a little bit better. So now we'll get even closer to it. So turn that off. All right, so hopefully you guys could hear that it does get very shaky, very like wavery, very unsteady, unstable. So now it's not as noticeable with a pinpointer as it would be with like the Garrett Sea Hunter. Obviously it has a bigger coil, so it's going to like affect things a lot more compared to this very small metal detector essentially. But if you don't keep them far enough apart while you are out detecting, the Accupoint, well, not even just the Accupoint, but any PI machine, it'll kind of almost give you like false signals, if you will, and it makes it harder to locate the targets. So I have used my Excal 2, and I don't think I've used it with the Pulsedive, but I have used it with another PI pinpointer, and that was the one that I got from the Gold Digger metal detectors. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it was like a neon green or neon yellow. Those, they definitely did not play. There was, I feel like, a more noticeable unsteadiness with Ringer and my other PI pinpointer compared to this one. This one actually really wasn't that bad, especially if you keep them about 1.5 to 2 feet apart. But I did want you guys to hear the little bit of waveriness that you get just by having these two machines on next to each other. All right guys, so that's it for today's video. Hopefully you liked our little comparison of the Nokta Pulsedive and the Nokta Accupoint. So again, I got a question from one of y'all a couple of days ago, essentially asking which of them is better. And I don't know that that's necessarily a black and white answer. So I think it really comes down to, where do you plan on using it? So if you are a diver and you plan on using it underwater, then 100% go with the Pulsedive because it can go significantly deeper than the Accupoint. But if you're just your average like beach hunter or even land hunter, the Pulsedive is a little bit much. It's a little bit overkill. So I feel like in that aspect, based on solely where you're going to use it, I would say the Accupoint is more versatile for your average metal detectorist. So as far as like which one performs better, I think they are both pretty equivalent to each other. Again, our testing had them both maxed out on the sensitivity, and they were pretty dang equal, like maybe 1/8 of an inch off as far as how far away they can detect the target. So I don't necessarily know that one is better than the other when it comes to actually detecting a target. So I think it really just comes down to where are you going to be using it. So overall, both of them are great machines. They are both great pinpointers, and I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. So hopefully that answers your question on which one is better. So if anybody has any other questions either about the Accupoint or the Pulsedive, go ahead and leave them in the comments section down below. If you liked today's video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to my YouTube account, please make sure you do so by hitting the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys later.